All right, let's dive deep into the world of the Las Vegas Raiders and everything swirling around this team right now. The Raiders have been a team full of surprises this season, with moves that have kept fans talking nonstop and rumors that have spread like wildfire across the NFL landscape. One of the biggest stories at the moment revolves around Jakobi Meyers and whether the Raiders might consider trading him. Over the past few weeks, there's been a lot of back-and-forth chatter about his future in Las Vegas. At one point, it seemed like a trade was almost certain, then interest cooled slightly, and now the possibility is hovering somewhere in between like a coin toss, leaving fans guessing and analyzing every snippet of information that comes out. Jakobi himself has made it very clear that he wants a change of scenery, and the organization is aware of his wishes. But these things are never straightforward. Just because a player wants out does not mean a trade automatically happens. It requires two things: a team willing to meet the Raiders' expectations and an offer that makes strategic sense for the franchise. The Raiders have been reported to be looking for a pick in the 4th round of the future draft for Jakobi, which is interesting because while it might not sound monumental, the value of securing a pick sooner rather than later cannot be overstated in NFL management. The difference between getting a pick in 2026 versus a compensatory pick in 2027 could influence not only draft strategy, but also roster planning and the team's ability to build around key players in the coming seasons. Timing matters, and the Raiders know that, just as every team does. But this situation is especially delicate because Jakobi's desire to leave has been persistent, echoing similar conversations from earlier in the offseason. Looking at potential destinations, the market for Jakobi Meyers has narrowed. Teams like the New England Patriots, Buffalo Bills, and New York Giants have shown the most consistent interest based on calls and scouting reports circulating in NFL circles. Although other franchises have been mentioned in rumors, the reality is that only a handful are actively engaged, with a combination of need, available assets, and willingness to negotiate aligning in these 3 cases. It's also important to note that offers for Jakobi are unlikely to reach the 2nd or 3rd round of the draft, as some reports suggest, meaning any team seriously looking to acquire him will need to focus on realistic trade packages that meet the Raiders' expectations while fitting within their own roster strategy. Beyond Jakobi, there are other names that have surfaced in trade talks, though with less intensity. While Meyers remains the central figure, discussions around secondary players and defensive assets hint at a more complex strategy by the Raiders front office. For example, Eric Stokes is a name starting to appear in whispers around the league, primarily because of his strong performances this season. While there's no concrete indication that the Raiders are actively shopping him, the possibility exists that interest from other teams could create a scenario where a move might make sense, especially if the front office is trying to adjust depth, balance contracts, or position the team for future success. Other potential trade candidates include players like Adeedin O'Connell at quarterback. While it might come as a surprise to some, O'Connell has been on the radar due to the scarcity of experienced quarterbacks across the league, combined with the coaching staff's familiarity with his skill set. The Raiders' approach has always been nuanced. They're not quick to part ways with key talent unless the offer is compelling. Tyree Wilson and Jackson Powers-Johnson, 2 players involved in the trenches, have also been part of trade speculation. While internal reports suggest that communication between Tyree and the team has been minimal, the mere fact that their names come up in rumor mills keeps fans engaged, debating, and constantly refreshing news feeds for updates. Max Crosby is another player whose name surfaces frequently, though it seems unlikely he would be moved without an extraordinary offer. Even in a season of unpredictability, some players are seen as untouchable due to their impact on the field and leadership within the locker room. Analyzing the Raiders' moves during the bye week provides more insight into the team's current strategy. Signing Tyler Lockett during the bye is a clear indicator that the organization sees itself as a buyer rather than a seller. This is significant, especially for a team with a record of 2-5 at this point in the season. It reflects a front office and coaching staff that are intent on competing, on strengthening the roster, and on finding ways to create more pressure on the field. That kind of mentality shapes trade expectations, targets, and the way the team evaluates incoming talent. Reports suggest that the Raiders have been keeping an eye on defensive backs and defensive linemen, which aligns with their needs to improve coverage, increase quarterback pressure, and create more flexibility in defensive schemes. Players like Reek Woolen come up as options, particularly given his past connections with the coaching staff and his fit in the defensive system the Raiders are trying to implement. Alontae Taylor, a cornerback from the New Orleans Saints, is another intriguing target due to his versatility, ability to play both inside and outside, and physicality that could immediately impact the secondary. Kyle Duggar has also been mentioned in speculative conversations, with rumors about potential release making him a possible addition. Though these are the types of decisions that require coordination, timing, and careful negotiation to ensure both teams benefit. On the defensive line, the Raiders are eyeing talent that can reinforce the pass rush and strengthen overall defensive performance. Names like Kayvon Thibodeau have been floated due to previous connections and positional fit as a hybrid outside linebacker. Jalen Phillips, who has personal relationships with members of the team and a history at UCLA that aligns with coaching familiarity, represents another option for adding depth and talent to the edge. Carl Granderson from the Saints is considered a more cost-effective alternative, someone who can contribute immediately without the complexity of a high-profile trade. The approach here reflects the Raiders' broader strategy this season: careful evaluation of value, calculated acquisition, and attention to both immediate impact and long-term flexibility. It is a mix of patience, strategic positioning, and readiness to act if the right opportunity arises. The trade market in the NFL is dynamic, and the Raiders' engagement indicates they are weighing their options carefully. Each potential move involves assessing need, evaluating available assets, and ensuring alignment with both team performance goals and player development objectives. For fans, this creates a constant stream of speculation, discussion, and excitement, especially as trade deadlines approach and opportunities arise. Even if some rumors do not materialize into deals, understanding the motivations behind interest, the connections between front offices, and the way players' contracts influence decisions offers an inside look at how a team like the Raiders operates in a highly competitive environment. Every call, every inquiry, and every scouting report can influence the decisions that ultimately shape the roster and determine whether the team is positioned to compete at the highest level. As the focus shifts back to Jakobi Meyers, it becomes clear that a situation is emblematic of the complexity of NFL trades. While he may be the most discussed potential move, his circumstances highlight the intricacies of player movement, the interplay between player desire, team needs, draft value, and timing. Trades are rarely straightforward, and the Raiders' handling of this situation illustrates their strategic thinking, weighing both present circumstances and future implications. This is where fans and analysts alike pay the most attention, dissecting every possible angle, debating potential outcomes, and projecting what each move could mean for the team's success. Even beyond individual players, the Raiders focus on strengthening specific positions. Targeting strategic additions and being active in trade discussions suggests a front office committed to building a competitive team. The interplay between offensive and defensive adjustments, the consideration of draft picks, and the attention to player relationships all converge in shaping the Raiders' approach to both short-term and long-term performance. It is a delicate balance, requiring judgment, patience, and sometimes the willingness to take calculated risks when the right opportunity presents itself. Continuing with the Raiders' trade and acquisition landscape, it's clear that the team is operating with a very strategic mindset. The signing of Tyler Lockett during the bye week sent a strong message. The Raiders are buyers, not sellers, and they're actively looking to strengthen key areas of the roster. This isn't about making headline-grabbing moves for the sake of excitement. It's about identifying gaps in the squad and addressing them with players who can contribute immediately. Defensive priorities are at the forefront, particularly on the line and in the secondary, where the Raiders have shown they need more versatility and pressure. Depth has been a recurring theme this season, and the organization knows that to compete in the NFL, especially in a division with high-powered offenses, every position must be reinforced with capable, reliable talent. The idea is to create a unit that can be flexible in schemes, adjust to different offensive styles, and respond to injuries or rotations without a significant drop in performance. Looking at the defensive line, the Raiders have been scouting players who can bring consistent pressure while fitting within the existing framework. Kayvon Thibodeau is a name that keeps coming up, largely because of his hybrid skill set as a pass rusher and his previous connections to the coaching staff. His ability to play multiple roles on the edge and in different packages makes him appealing to a team that has historically relied on situational substitutions and strategic alignments. Jalen Phillips is another candidate. Although injury concerns have been part of his narrative, his prior experience with some of the Raiders' network and coaching relationships adds intrigue. He could potentially slide into a role that helps shore up weaknesses and improve overall pressure rates. Carl Granderson from the Saints is perhaps the most cost-effective option, offering youth, energy, and a skill set that fits within the team's defensive vision without requiring a complex or high-value trade. These evaluations show a front office that is calculating and deliberate, preferring moves that provide tangible benefits rather than chasing names purely for reputation. In the secondary, the focus is equally sharp. Riq Woolen stands out because of his connection to the coaching staff, his experience in systems similar to what the Raiders run, and his ability to contribute immediately in multiple coverage scenarios. Alontae Taylor, with his versatility to play inside and outside, offers physicality and adaptability that can help a secondary struggling against both short, quick passes and more aggressive vertical threats. Kyle Duggar, though surrounded by speculation, represents an interesting possibility if circumstances align correctly. His skill set and potential impact make him a candidate to consider, especially if other moves create space or trading opportunities for him to be acquired as part of a broader strategy. The Raiders are clearly analyzing not just individual talent, but also the overall fit of any acquisition, how it complements existing players, and whether it allows the team to execute both defensive and offensive strategies more effectively. Meanwhile, the quarterback situation remains a subtle but important factor in trade discussions. While Aidan O'Connell isn't the centerpiece of rumors, his potential value in a trade scenario cannot be overlooked. NFL teams are always searching for experienced quarterbacks who can step in if needed, and O'Connell's experience combined with coaching familiarity makes him a potential asset that the Raiders might consider leveraging. Tyree Wilson and Jackson Powers-Johnson have surfaced in discussions as well, though internal reports suggest that direct communication about trades has been limited. These names illustrate how trade considerations are not just about star players, but also about positional depth, contract flexibility, and strategic leverage in negotiations. Even Max Crosby, a player often considered untouchable, becomes part of the broader calculus when a team is faced with exceptional trade offers or unique opportunities. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has set the NFL rumor mill ablaze, whispers around the league suggest that TRISTAN, one of the premier offensive tackles in the game today, has reportedly said yes to the Las Vegas Raiders. While nothing is official yet, sources close to the situation hint that the blockbuster decision could be just the beginning of a seismic shakeup in the league. WIRFS, known for his brutal strength in pass protection and his dominance in the run game, has long been linked to speculation about his next career move. Teams have been circling like hawks, and the Raiders, eager to bolster an offensive line that has seen its fair share of struggles, seem to have landed at the top of his radar. Fans and analysts alike are buzzing at the prospect of WIRFS donning silver and black, imagining the instant upgrade he could provide for a franchise hungry for contention. The timing is what makes this potential deal so tantalizing. With the NFL offseason in full swing and the draft already looming, adding a talent of WIRFS caliber could dramatically alter the landscape of the AFC West. Raiders insiders are reportedly ecstatic at the possibility, seeing him as the cornerstone for an offensive line that desperately needs stability. Meanwhile, league commentators are speculating on how this could affect WIRFS' current team and whether a trade or free agency agreement is on the horizon. Of course, in true NFL fashion, caution is warranted. Nothing is set in stone. Until contracts are signed, everything remains a tantalizing what-if. Yet, the buzz is undeniable. Social media is lighting up, fan forums are exploding with debates, and even casual observers can sense that something huge might be brewing in Sin City. If the rumors prove true, the Raiders wouldn't just be acquiring a player. They'd be making a statement. TRISTAN WIRFS in Las Vegas could be the headline that changes the off-season narrative entirely. For now, all eyes remain on the league as speculation runs wild, and the NFL world waits to see if this whisper becomes reality. One thing is for sure, if WIRFS really says yes, the Raiders and the entire league will never be the same. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.